Hello, seminarians. Welcome to our summer A class on Introduction to the Bible, RLST 010. Speaking to you is Remy Ilona, your instructor. Your teaching assistant is Alexander Zamuzinski. Both of us are ABD at the department, at the Study of Religion department of the UCR. Welcome to this course, where we aim to give you all the necessary information to understanding this most important and, by the way, very large literature, which is generally believed to have been or to be the instrument that laid the foundation of the civilization we know as the Western civilization. Some people call that civilization Judeo-Christian culture. The purpose of this course is to introduce students to the contents of the Bible and the tools that scholars use to understand it. The class examines contemporary interpretive stances, history, methods, and major themes through the study of portions of the Bible. This course looks at the Bible through a scholarly lens. We do not look at it through a religious or rather through a theological lens. We look at it as scholars. You guys in this class are all scholars. You are getting the information as it is now. You are looking at the Bible as scholars, examining its religious and literary impacts and how it has been treated. We will be reading excerpts from the Bible as well as secondary interpretive sources. There are no prerequisites for this course, and no prior knowledge or familiarity with the Bible is required. As you must have seen, the course is totally asynchronous. As such, students should have reliable internet access, because all the time you can go and do whatever assignment is required of you, read whatever you are supposed to read. The materials that are available to you will be videos, that is films, and readings. When you read and view the videos, some of which will be mine, your responsibility is to respond as at when due. Now we are going to engage in a very basic examination of the Bible. The Bible can be viewed as one book. It can also be viewed as two books. Christians will generally look at the Old and New Testament as just one Bible. But people from the Jewish tradition will tend to look at the Bible as two traditions. The first part is the Old Testament, or this is a rather Christian rendition. The Jewish people themselves will call it the Hebrew Bible. In the arrangement you will find in the recommended text, you will see that it will start from the book of Genesis and terminate at the book of Malachi. Jews would see this as Hebrew scriptures, as the scripture that is pertinent to the religion called Judaism. And the rest of the Bible, Jews will look at as the New Testament Bible, the one that is relevant to, in the Jewish understanding, to the Christian religion, while the Christians will look at the entire Bible as just one book pertinent to their own religion. If we get into deeper analysis, the different sects or denominations of Christianity also have some differences vis-a-vis the Bible. For example, what the Catholic Christians regard as their Bible is in some ways larger than what the Protestant Christians regard as their Bible. The Catholic Bible has more books. We will get into all that in the readings and in subsequent videos that I'll produce for this course. Meanwhile, what we are going to do now is to introduce a very important meta-narrative of the Bible, the story of the creation. The Bible made us to understand in the book of Genesis that the world came into being through the activities of a being that the Bible called God. Before this God began the creative activity that we call the creation, the world was a sort of void. There was nothing in it. Then this God began to will things or call things into being. In summary, he created the seas, separated them from the land, created all sorts of things we see in this world today, and on the sixth day he created you and I. He created man, starting from one man that he created, whom he called Adam. And afterwards, he created a counterpart to this being, whom he called, or rather, the man named her Eve. And God took them and set them up in a garden that we know as the Garden of Eden. He gave them rules, instructed them about how they would live, told them to eat of every fruit, every vegetable in that garden, but to avoid one particular tree. He told them that the day they eat of that tree, they will die. And this man and this woman continued to live in that garden. Everything was perfection itself until one day a very wily being, a very wily creation, one of the beings that God created, the Bible made us to understand that that being was what we would call a snake or a serpent, approached the woman and told the woman, you see that particular tree that God said you should not eat of its fruit? God was only fooling you. If you eat that fruit, you would become as smart as God. The woman believed the serpent, took of that fruit, ate, and when the husband came back, she convinced the husband, who also ate of the fruit, and their eyes became open, and they noticed that they were naked. And they became aware of themselves. After some time, God came, of course, being the God that willed everything into action. We must know that he was aware of what they had done, so he summoned them, but they were in hiding. Upon interrogation, they owned up to the fact that they had disobeyed that God, and that God sent them away after clothing them, because they said they were ashamed because they were naked, and God asked, who told you you were naked? You must have disobeyed me. Well, to cut a long story short, God made clothes for them, gave them the consequences of their disobedience, and sent them into the world The consequences for the man was that henceforth he had to labor before he would find food. In other words, he would sweat, and from the sweat of his brows, he will be able to find food. While the woman would have difficulties producing children, in other words, the woman would have to undergo pain while producing children. This man and this woman were the ancestors of all humanity from the standpoint of the writers of the Bible. In other words, all of us in this course, be you African, be you European, be you American, be you Asian, be you Australian, we are all products of this man and this woman that came first, that God created first. So you can see the profundity of this story. This story brings to our awareness, if we are not aware, that we are all sons of one man, daughters of one man, sons of one woman, daughters of one woman. So you go to the book of Genesis, read up this portion, and read up the other sections you will also find in the syllabus. Have a very good day. Thank you.